Good morning. It is now a little before 7:30 on Thursday. About to head down to the gym to do a little bit of active recovery today. I did a strength training workout yesterday and I also had a massage. So I'm a little bit sore today for sure, in a good way, but definitely feeling it. And I know the best way to get rid of that soreness is going to be to get moving, get the blood flow going, kind of flush everything out. And then this morning I also have an IV infusion as well as doing a blood draw because I've been on this antifungal protocol for a few months now and I'm almost finished. But one of the things that my doctor just wanted to double check was liver enzymes and make sure that nothing is elevated there. It's basically just taking an extra precaution after being on these medications. We're definitely not expecting anything to be off, but just to be safe, she wanted me to get this lab test done to check on liver enzymes. So we'll be able to get both those done at the same time, which is nice. The sun is just starting to come up, so I'll be able to get a little bit of morning sunlight along with my movement this morning. One of the reasons that I am consistently doing my movement in the morning, like first thing in the morning. For one, my sort of natural rhythm is to go to bed early and wake up early. That just works really well for me and kind of how my body wants to function. But also my energy is definitely highest in the morning. When I get up, I feel a little bit groggy. It feels a little hard to get out of bed and get going. Like that's when we'll feel sort of fatigued and a little bit hard to get out of bed. And then about an hour after I get up is when I probably have like my peak energy. So that's when I like to try to get my movement in, because usually a few hours later in the morning is when I'll kind of have my first wave of that more fatigue and weariness feeling. I'll often get a little bit of a boost in the afternoon and then kind of get hit hard by that again later in the afternoon or in the evening. So I'm sort of trying to follow what my body's natural rhythms are. I know that movement is really important. Obviously I have to be mindful of not like over stressing my body with activity, but I feel like I've found a really good level or like kind of what works really well for me in terms of intentional movement every day. And for me, I've just found that it works best to do that first thing in the morning. Sorry for the weird lighting change. I have a light on the background that just went out. So anyway, gonna head down to the gym now and then we'll head to my IV appointment. Good morning. It is Saturday. It's about 7:30. About to head down to the gym to get my movement for the morning. I had a little bit of a weird night's sleep last night. I woke up in the middle of the night, kind of an upset stomach that just kept me up for a little bit. Not entirely sure what that was about. And I was able to fall back asleep and feel pretty okay this morning. You can see on my Oura Ring data like where I woke up, I think around 2 a.m. But it didn't really seem to impair my sleep or recovery too much last night, at least not according to the objective data. And like I said, at this point, I feel pretty normal, but hoping that a little bit of movement this morning will also kind of just help shake off whatever that was. I am on the last day. This morning is my last day of the antifungal protocol, which I have been on, I think it's a total of about 2 months, something like that. I started it when I was back in Virginia and have my last little prescription tablet this morning. Also, along with that, I'm taking a supplement that targets candida. So I'll be curious to see over the next couple of weeks now that I'll be finished with that, if there's any changes, because I think I mentioned that right when I started it and kind of throughout the whole duration of being on this protocol, I have felt like my fatigue levels have been higher. There could obviously be other things playing into that as well, which is why I'm always interested to see like when something changes in what I'm doing, what do I notice? But I also will be kind of glad to finish it because one of the little side effects that I've had is when I take the medication and the supplement in the morning, I do get a little bit of a reaction to it. It kind of feels like a little bit of heartburn and also a little bit of nausea. Like it's kind of a weird combination. It's hard to explain. And it's very mild, so it doesn't like get in my way too much, but it'll last for about an hour and then it'll go away and I'll be fine the rest of the day. But just be kind of glad to not be experiencing that every morning, and then just kind of see over the next couple of weeks, like, do I notice any change in my energy levels or anything else after being off of the protocol for a little bit. But gonna go get my workout in for the morning. I have somebody actually coming to pick up my old dining table. Like in my last video, I got a new table in my dining room. I've had my old one just kind of like sitting in the corner, but somebody is coming to pick it up this morning. And I have a few other things that I want to get done today to kind of kick off the weekend. Hello, yes, I'm sitting on the floor of my kitchen and welcome to the cabinet under my sink. I am about to change the filters in my water filter system. So I have a reverse osmosis filtration system that's under my sink. And then basically I have like a special faucet that just does the filtered water, which I use for drinking or cooking or whatever. I had this installed actually many years ago. It was kind of part of my process of trying to change as much as I could in my environment to reduce my exposure to toxins or chemicals or really anything that could be preventing me from making progress in terms of my body healing and everything. And given that I know I have very high heavy metal levels, one of the big things that I wanted to do was make sure that I wasn't ingesting anything harmful from my drinking water, which can definitely be a very like impactful source of contamination. And this just felt like the easiest way to have like what I know is really, really well filtered drinking water, and I can take it with me if I ever like move or whatever. It's not like a full house system, it's just for drinking water, but it's been really awesome so far for the years that I've had it. And like every 8 to 12 months or so I have to change the filters in it. I always kind of dread this because every time I do it I feel like it should get easier each time, and then every time I do it I feel like I always have trouble with it because they're kind of hard to like fit the filters into the little slots that they go in, and given the way that it's like kind of stuffed under my sink here, the angle is kind of awkward. Anyway, we'll see how it goes this time. This is probably the 3rd or 4th time that I've done this, kind of hoping that it won't be as hard as it was last time. This one is the one that's really hard to get in because it's like way in the back of this thing. And you have to get this little hole lined up just perfectly. Very tricky. Water back on. Good morning, happy Sunday. Just doing a little warm up before heading down to the gym. Feeling a little tired and groggy. It was very hard to get out of bed this morning. Sometimes I go through phases where when I wake up in the morning, even if I've had, 7 to 8 hours of sleep, I have this very what I think of as sort of heavy, foggy feeling. And it just feels very, very hard to kind of shake off. My whole body feels kind of weighed down. I feel like I should be able to fall back asleep. That's kind of how tired or sleepy I feel at the time, but I never do. I am awake for the day. I just have to kind of wait for that feeling to lift a little bit. Usually that means I have to actually get out of bed and just get moving, and eventually I'll kind of shake that off. So I've been up for a little bit now and definitely feeling better. Might take me a minute to kind of ease into this workout, and I'm hoping that getting the blood flowing a little bit will also take off the rest of this brain foggy feeling. But since it's still kind of dark out in the mornings, it's also pretty cold, kind of not adapted to that yet. I haven't been doing a morning walk. Usually in the summer when it's light out early, I'll take a short walk outside to get my morning sunlight, and also kind of as part of my warm up before heading to the gym. Now the sun is usually not coming up until I'm already partway through my workout, so I can still get that morning sunlight, but I'm not necessarily getting out for a walk first thing in the morning, which means I have been using my little mini trampoline as part of my pre-workout warm up. Not only is bouncing around on the little trampoline a really good blood flow warm up before a workout, but it's also really helpful for lymphatic drainage. So I feel like I'm kind of getting double the benefits, sort of helping my detox systems get moving in the morning and also warming up for my workout. I started putting this together earlier and I actually got pretty far. It definitely went a lot faster doing this one than the first one I did that's out on my deck. Much easier the second time around. And also this one's quite a bit smaller, so there's just fewer pieces and it's just been a lot easier to kind of manage the whole thing. So I just want to finish up the last couple of pieces and get this out on the deck. Well, now I've got both of my garden beds out on the deck. Kind of the wrong timing considering it's the end of November, but when we get to spring, 6 months from now, I will be glad that these are all put together and ready to go. I am making some ginger turmeric tea. I'm feeling a little bit like I'm getting a sore throat today. I'm hoping it's nothing, but I've also been meaning to make this tea for a while. I used to make it all the time because it's so good and it's really easy. And it's especially good if you feel like you might be getting sick or a sore throat or whatever. You literally just chop up a little bit of fresh ginger and turmeric and then simmer it on the stove for 10 minutes. Then you add a little bit of apple cider vinegar and honey to it, and it's so good, especially now that it's getting colder, heading into winter. Highly recommend. making this. I definitely think I will be making this a lot in the next couple of months. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Can peel the ginger and the turmeric, but I usually just kind of scrub them off and leave the peel on. I also like to use a lot of ginger, more ginger than turmeric. Turmeric's pretty strong and I like the ginger flavor, so I put kind of a lot. And also just watch out for the turmeric because it will stain anything and everything that it touches. Okay, it is time to do some painting. I have several areas around my house that need a little bit of touch-up painting, and a few weeks ago I went and got the paint and everything I need to actually do it, and then have just been putting it off. I think I've made it out to be a bigger project in my head than it actually is going to be, so I've kind of been procrastinating on doing this, and I know it will be really nice to get this done and not have little like patches all over my walls that need paint. So I'm gonna do it now, see how long it actually takes me. I will say I don't really know what I'm doing in terms of painting, but for the most part, they're very small areas and they're not like super visible. So if it doesn't turn out perfectly, that'll be okay. Can you imagine if I opened this up and it was like totally the wrong color? Crazy how different it looks in the can versus on the wall. I'll have to hope that dries in the right color. Tis the season to always have a YouTube fireplace video on the TV. Okay, got all the painting done and it literally took me like maybe 15 or 20 minutes. So really not that bad. It feels really good to have that done. Definitely not as bad as I had made it out in my head. There were a few spots behind the TV that I can't really get to because of the way that it's propped up on the wall right now, but that TV is going to be leaving at some point. I'm going to replace it with something else, but I'm not sure what yet. So once that is gone, I can finish painting the wall behind it. But it's nice to get that done. And there is a squirrel out on my deck right now destroying the pumpkin. Oh my God, that I have, oh my God, on the table. Literally just gnawing away. Wow. I mean, really? Really? Is this necessary? I mean, it's sort of cute and also sort of annoying. Anyway, I'm going to end off this video here. Next week, I'm actually getting ready to head out of town. I'm going to go ride in South Carolina, which I'm really looking forward to. I talked to the trainer that I ride with out there. I know it's a little confusing because I have Freddie in Virginia and I was out there for a couple months, but when I'm actually training and competing, I work with a trainer in South Carolina. That's where I had Freddie originally when I got her and was showing her. So anyway, I've been in touch with my trainer because they've been looking for a horse for me that I could have as a show horse, but we just haven't found anything yet. And in the meantime, they have a horse at the barn that I could come ride just to at least get a little bit of time in the saddle, kind of keep up with my riding skills. So I'm gonna be going there next week, right before Thanksgiving. So next week's video will kind of be prepping to go, and then maybe also a trip to South Carolina. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next week.